local people, local news and events, local sports, local matters. For all things Lloydminster and area, this is Live with Kurt Price.
Hey, we want to welcome you in to Spiro's for Love Story, presented by Spiro's and Richardson's Jewellery. My co-host today is, as you know her maybe by on the radio, is Heather Clagus, but I know her as my wife, Heather Price, and it's always great when we get to work together again. It's where we first met, was working together. And Love Story is all about sharing the experiences of different people in our community that we admire and we look up to, and we've got two of those today for sure. And we have Gerald and Christine Aalbers, Mr. and Mrs. Mayor, join us today. We want to tell you about Spiro's, though, because you still might be able to sneak in. They've got Daryl Amador playing here on Valentine's night. But if you haven't booked your spot yet, I would say pick up the phone and call Spiro's ASAP and get that table reserved. Guys, there won't be hockey on Saturday night. It's the Olympics, so there's no hockey. You don't have to worry about coming late or anything like that. Just make sure that you've got something planned. And one of the best things to do, I know Heather loves coming. We didn't do it last year, and I heard about it, was booking for Spiro. She said, hey, that's been our tradition. Why are you breaking that? I was like, well, I thought we get takeout. It wasn't the same.
So I think that's a really good hint, Kurt. Make sure before you go home tonight that you have got to double check.
Make sure that I've got it booked. Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't hurt to double check.
That's right.
And also Richardson's Jewellery. And I just want to tell you about my experience at Richardson's Jewellery when I bought Heather's ring. When I bought Heather's ring, I didn't look at the prices on anything. And there was one ring that I just kept drawing me to. And I said when I went in there, I was going to keep Heather in mind. When I went in, what would Heather like? What would she like? And so I was looking at these rings, and I wasn't really looking at prices or anything like that, but I picked out her current ring as being my favorite. Then they showed me the price, and because it wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be, I started to second guess myself on whether or not. But it was the team at Richardson's Jewellery that said to me, which one is speaking to you about her? Which one is drawing you to her? And it was that one. And I kept going back to it, but I kind of felt like I was being cheap a little bit. And they're like, if that ring is the one that speaks to you, by all means, pick that ring. If she doesn't like it, you can always bring it back. And I couldn't have picked out a better ring. She absolutely loved it. So
no need to take it back.
Yeah, and I say this at the beginning of every show. I never consider going anywhere else besides Richardson's, because what they mean to our community, what they put back into our community, and the family that they are, and the things that they sponsor around our community. I just really appreciate that. It goes a long way. So when it came to picking out a ring, if it comes to picking out a Valentine's gift, I think you should definitely consider Richardson's Jewellery. Superior Water specializes in nothing but water, and with over 23 years in the business, they're proud and confident that their water and service is superior. For iron filters, water softeners, reverse osmosis distillers, chlorine removal, and H2S odor removal, you can give Superior Water a call at 780-875-6636 or stop and see them at their 57th Avenue location right beside Sheepskin Loft. And stay hydrated with pure, clean water. I drink Superior Water because I like the taste, and after all, it is superior water. Also want to tell you about cupcakes for caregivers. Email livewithkurtprice@gmail.com. Tell us about the caregiver in your life, and we could be delivering a dozen cupcakes. It's so much more than delivering that sweet gift, though. It is a great opportunity just to say thank you and show your appreciation for what caregivers do. They're often completely and totally overlooked, especially if they're family members. We can completely forget that how much mom does for dad, or how much dad does for mom, or even how much our neighbors do for us. They become caregivers, and 1 in 4 people are caregivers might not even know it. This is a great way to say thanks. You are appreciated. And once again, all it takes is an email. Just email livewithkurtprice@gmail.com. Tell us a little bit about that caregiver, and we can kind of take it from there and do the rest. And yeah, sometimes it is nice to surprise that caregiver with a delicious treat. It's brought to you by Sobeys Lloydminster and Umbrella Marketing and Design. We will take a really short break, and then we're coming back with Mr. and Mrs. Mayor, Gerald and Christine Aalbers, and we're going to find out about their love story from Richardson's Jewellery and Spiro's.
At Diamond 7 Meats, we work with local farm families to provide a high-quality product and a great selection for you. Try our mouth-watering smokies, pulled pork, roast beef, and more, made pure and natural with no additives or fillers. We offer custom processing, and our experienced team works for you to provide a selection of sausage, burgers, and jerkies made to your specifications. Take your grilling to the next level with a Yoder smoker. Complete the grilling experience with a Canadian-made, award-winning line of House of Q barbecue sauces. We're locally owned and operated, and we look forward to seeing you today.
At Lloydminster and District Co-op, membership matters more. Because being part of a co-op means you're connected to something bigger than yourself. From long-held legacy by those who built our communities, to people you call family, friends, and neighbors. When you're a Lloyd Co-op member, you're an owner in a local business that prides itself on purpose alongside profit. You earn cash back, you help support causes that matter most, and you're building a better way of life for the next generation. Membership matters more.
Border City Furniture in downtown Lloydminster is proud to be your 100% locally owned and operated furniture store with a focus on Canadian-made quality furniture. Shop their tremendous selection of beautiful living room sets, stylish sectionals, and comfy recliners. Border City Furniture also offers many different sizes of dinettes, as well as incredible bedroom sets and mattresses. Stop in and see Calvin and Ryan for the best customer service experience in Lloyd. They've got the awards to prove it. Border City Furniture in downtown Lloydminster, where the sale never ends. Well, BioClean Disaster Services is committed, certified, reliable, and they will help you get your life back. 1-833-246-8326. Here we are at Spiro's, where they did have one of those disasters. They did have a fire. And then not too long after that, I had I had Maria on the show, and she was talking about getting things done. And I was actually talking about how fantastic BioClean Disaster Services is, and she interrupted me. She said, "Let me tell you how good they are, because they helped us get back open in like less than 24 hours. That's how fantastic they are." And what their slogan is, "We'll help you get your life back." I hope if you have been through a disaster, you definitely know what that means, because any kind of disaster that interrupts everyday life, it can be just that. You're like, when can I just use my home or my business the way I used to use my home and my business? They'll get you back to that as soon as you can with fantastic communication. That's what BioClean Disaster Services is all about. That and giving back to our community. They're Lloydminster's local, and they're Lloydminster's largest restoration company. 1-833-246-8326. Well, we are excited to bring you this edition of Love Story from Spiro's and Richardson's Jewellery, because we have not only the mayor and Mrs. Mayor here joining us, but we have friends of ours to talk to today. Christine and Gerald Aalbers. I met Gerald when he used to call into the radio station and complain about the government, and he would do so disguised as Santa Claus sometimes, but it worked out. And also saw him on, I think before I even knew who you were, I saw you on W5 at one time. Yep. And I asked you years later, like, were you ever on W5? Yeah, I was on W5. Yeah. So it's like, hey, I remember watching an episode of you on W5. Must have been the only episode of W5 I'd ever watched. but we are excited to have you guys here. Thanks for agreeing to share. And I know it can be difficult, especially being in the public eye, to kind of decide to, we could share some stuff. But we appreciate you guys doing this. Thanks.
Well, it's good to be here.
Thank you.
Well, let's start with how you met, because we don't even know. We were asking each other, no, I
You
don't
go
know.
ahead, honey.
Well, actually, we met back in probably 1986, and I was involved with 4-H, and so was Gerald in Saskatchewan, and so we both got involved provincially with the 4-H stuff, and so we ended up at meetings together, and we became good friends and got connected. And then I was still in high school, and so then I went off to university. And before you go to university, they have a program to help people experience the city. So what was it called again?
Called 4-H City Survival
City
Weekend.
Survival, exactly. And so we come in from the country, and there were probably 30 or 40 of us that came from all over Saskatchewan into Saskatoon, and they host us for the weekend. And so we met again there, and we had seen each other before. And then we ended up meeting again the next summer at a summer camp, and it seemed like our paths kept crossing. Well, then I went to university in the fall of 87, and Gerald was at, well, actually, I better go back to January. I had a tonsillitis surgery, the second one, when I was 18 years old. And so I called to talk to Gerald's roommate, Paul. Paul wasn't home, and so I talked to Gerald. And so that was kind of another thing that made our relationship grow a little stronger. So, yeah. And so then I ended up in Saskatoon, and we both got involved with the 4-H alumni and helped put on events and get things organized. We've kind of been doing that for a really long time. And we were just really good friends. And Gerald thought it was a really good thing if we stayed really good friends. And so we did for a while. And he dated my cousin, and that was a bad idea. There were a few things that happened along the way, but it was really good. And so then we finally decided that maybe we should date. And then things progressed. And in February, actually about the 18th of February of 1988, we got engaged, or February of 89, got engaged, and we got married in November. So, yeah.
So how many years did you guys, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Denzel, so south of Lloyd here, about an hour and a quarter.
Okay. And Gerald?
I grew up in southeast Saskatchewan, about 40 miles from the U.S.-Manitoba border.
So how long had you guys met before you actually started dating? What was that time like?
Probably 2 years off and on, year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot longer when you were talking about.
Yeah, no, so it was probably about 2 years, but there was a lot of interactions because of the 4-H involvement, right? Like, because there were meetings, there was camp, all different aspects. So,
because I'm trying to remember when I met your folks. It was at a 4-H event at the 4-H
at
camp
Rainer Center in 87.
In 87,
yeah. Would have been in 87, so yeah.
Do you remember the first date? Did you have an actual first date, or because you're friends, they can get kind of blurry, right?
Yeah, it got a little blurry on a little trip back from a place called Landis, Saskatchewan.
What?
We were out on a 4-H.
You're kidding.
No, seriously.
Seriously, we were invited by the local 4-H club in Landis, Saskatchewan, to come and present, I think, on public speaking,
Or about how to run a good club or something, yes.
Meetings and things like that. And it was a long trip back, and we ended up in the back seat of the Suburban.
That might have been stage one. I don't know. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah. It gets blurry after all.
So, Gerald, how come you dated her cousin first? Come on.
No, because we were friends, right? And the dating thing wasn't maybe where I thought we were ready to be at. So, I had a chance to ask her cousin out, who she was living with at the time, because I worked for a company and we didn't have a Christmas party. And boss said, take a girl out, have a date. So I did, and then I heard all about it. So
you realized that was a bad idea shortly after that.
So it sounds, Christine, like you were the one who kind of knew, hey, this relationship.
Oh yeah,
I like this guy.
And Joe was actually really clueless a lot of the time. We were at a party one time, and
it's too easy. It's too easy.
There were these girls that were all interested in him, and he had no clue. We would talk a lot. We were on the phone together a lot, and so it's like, okay, you need to be aware of what's going on around.
I was enjoying being single.
Yes.
And it wasn't that the dating scene was really important. It was just, it was working. It was just enjoying life.
And it was a great time. We had a lot of really good friends and a lot of good people to hang out with. So it wasn't necessary either, but it was, so entertaining to watch. And so we would talk a lot.
So she was watching, and I was just living.
But what was it about Gerald? What was it about him that?
Well, there were several things. The first one actually was the fact that he was allergic to alcohol. And in my family, that was something that could be a problem. So it was like, oh, this is a very good thing. He actually had money and a bank account, and he had bought a house, and it was like all these different pieces. And I'm like, okay, this guy cares about people. He can speak really, really well in public. He interacts well with everybody. He was great with my family. Like, yeah, no. He's definitely a keeper.
The Landis thing keeps rolling through my head. That's crazy.
Yeah, the world is pretty small.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know, I grew up in Landis, Saskatchewan, which there's not a lot of people who grew up in Landis, Saskatchewan.
Nope.
So, and, a few in this area, but Gerald, what was it about Christine that finally convinced you?
You know, her personality. We kind of meshed. We thought an awful lot alike, and that can be dangerous. We're both the oldest in our family, so you know, taking the lead sometimes, and sometimes it is a struggle to have two leaders. But we've been able to come together, and you know, there was just so many things, and we could see things together, and we'd come away from something and go, you know, I think we could do that a little differently. And yeah, that's a great idea. I saw the same thing, and we seem to share so many things together. And you know, attracted to beauty.
Oh, good answer.
How long did you guys date before getting engaged?
Probably close to a year. Yeah, I worked away for that summer before. I worked for a summer spraying weeds across Saskatchewan. Not a good job. And in places in Alberta.
I did the same thing.
It was like, it wasn't great. And I didn't want to be on the road spraying weeds was the other part of the challenge. So yeah. And so we got engaged in the February. So we'd known each other for a couple of years and dated probably for about a year. Yeah. Yep. And then got engaged and got married in November. So we had to wait to get married to November because we have farming relatives and the like, and that way they weren't going to be harvesting and the like. We found out at the wedding that it was hunting season, and none of the relatives were allowed to get married in hunting season. So it was very entertaining because my uncle actually got up and gave a speech at the wedding. He's like, okay, all you nieces and nephews, no more weddings in hunting season.
We are a hunting family.
Yes.
There will be no weddings in hunting season. Even though the riders run the Grey Cup, the next day they went back to a moose camp north of Nipawin with lots of food provisions to last them another week. But it's just one of those things.
You got married the day before the Riders won the Cup?
We did.
1989.
Did you get to watch the?
Yeah, we did.
I think we watched. We had the gift opening and then
and you know, a lot of food left over as a usual event, so everybody enjoyed it.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. So there's a lot of good things about this story. Landis, we got you're spraying weeds. We got, we got the riders involved. But I want to know what the proposal was like.
Do you want to tell the beer story or what?
Your story.
Wait a minute, there's two versions here or what?
Well, there might be. I kind of had to dare him. I'm like, okay, it's either now or not. And he's like, yeah, will you marry me? I'm like, absolutely. So,
where were you?
I think I'd come over to her place for brunch, and she just sort of threw it out there, and I said, "Well, I guess we better go ring shopping then, if that's the case." So I took her to the jewelry store because, it was it hadn't even it crossed my mind. I said, you're going to wear this ring the rest of your life. I want you to pick the ring that you want to wear," but she didn't.
So were you thinking about it though, Gerald? Had it been on your mind?
I guess it had been on my mind. It just, heck, I wasn't in a real rush. I was 24 and I was still enjoying it, and working and just, she was on my mind a lot, and we had spent a lot of time. It was funny because where I was working, I used to travel out of Saskatoon at that time to northeast Saskatchewan, and she had relatives there. So there was the occasional time I gave her a ride to see her grandma and things like that, and got to know her about her family and things like that. So it was, we just spent a lot of time together, and I enjoyed spending time with her. But
Where was the wedding?
We actually got married in Denzel.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, my mom and a bunch of other people, we all worked together and we made all the food for supper. So we actually like catered it ourselves. And I had all of my cousins help serve and get everything set up and out, and neighbors in the community help with that as well. So we made pierogies and we had chicken, and it was crazy.
Yeah, turkey and ham.
Turkey and ham, and like it was nuts. Yeah. So it was a big
No
supper.
wonder you had so many leftovers to watch.
Right?
last game.
Oh yeah. Like we had, I think about 250 people came, and yeah, because you have to invite everybody, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to say this. I'd be shocked if you guys took a honeymoon.
We did.
We
Did
did,
you?
Yeah,
but we didn't take
absolutely.
it right away. That was what was interesting. Got married the end of November, but because of my work in the ag business, it really slowed down in early January. So we booked a honeymoon for early January. So it was a little while before we got away on our honeymoon.
And the good news is we picked something that we've fallen in love with ever since. So yeah,
What was that?
we went on a 4-day
Four-night
cruise, and then 3 days at Disney World and 3 days at the beach after that. And so it was like just a fabulous combination. We thought, well, if you're going to get seasick, you don't want to do that on your honeymoon. So yeah. And so, yeah. And ever since then, we've loved cruising, and yeah, find it's a great way to travel. So
Yeah, what were you doing? You were working in ag at the time?
Yeah.
You were selling.
Fertilizer and chemical wholesale. So that it was just like there's that Christmas buying rush sometimes in the ag community, and I couldn't be taking time in December, and it was just year end and all those things. So
and we thought January was a good time to get away. So it worked well.
Yep.
Were you like? You guys are so organized. I see you guys as very organized, but I know sometimes things throw a wrench into your plans. I know you never planned on being mayor, that's for sure. But has everything gone the way you thought it would?
No,
Like, did you guys have a plan when you got married? This is going to be our life. This is the linear path. This is where how we're gonna go.
I think we had hopes and dreams, and the crazy great part is most of it has happened. Like there's been all sorts of amazing things that you would have never dreamt could happen that have. And so yeah, we've been really blessed. We have 3 kids, and that happened in a really short period of time. So there's only 15 months and 17 months between the kids. So they all came really, really quickly. And so life got a little overwhelming for a while there. And we moved a lot. We moved to 8 different places within 10 years,
No,
I think
well,
it was,
yeah,
or
just
10 or
over
11
10
years.
Yep.
So like it was insane. So by the time we finally got to Lloydminster, it was a really good thing to actually settle down. Gerald always says that my mom
Threatened to nail my feet to the floor if I was going to move again from Lloyd, because it was the closest I'd got her daughter back to in at that time 15 years of marriage, and they had followed us around fairly consistently wherever we went. They came to visit, and some of that was as far as Fort St. John, British Columbia, Weyburn, Saskatchewan, the southeast, and across Saskatchewan and Alberta. So the old patch took us in different directions, and it was just one of those things. And this is the longest we've lived in one community married, is in Lloydminster.
Yeah.
We kind of skipped over a lot, so I want to go back a little bit here. We're going to take a break, and then we'll do that when we come back here with Mr. and Mrs. Aalbers' love story, brought to you by Richardson's Jewellery and Spiro's.
At Jason Arden and Associates Cooperators, we're proud to be a top-rated local insurance company that offers flexible solutions and expert advice for all your insurance and investment needs. We'll work with you to tailor your insurance specific to your needs, and we offer investment advice that always puts you first. At Cooperators, one of our core values is to give back to the communities that we live in. Thanks to the support of our clients in Lloydminster and area, in 2023, Jason Arden and Associates has donated $40,000 to local nonprofits, charities, students, athletes, and other special events. How does your insurance company support our community?
I'm Brian Zinchuk of PipelineOnline.ca. I used to be a pipeliner, and I've spent the last 15 years reporting on energy in Saskatchewan. PipelineOnline.ca provides comprehensive coverage of light oil, heavy oil, lithium, helium, power production including coal, wind, solar, geothermal, natural gas, and nuclear. There's a lot happening in Saskatchewan's energy sector, and Pipeline Online is there for all of it. No one else comes even close.
How can you help support the oil and gas industry and jobs in Western Canada? The answer is closer than you think. Sell your scrap metals to PWM Steel. PWM sells scrap iron to Evraz, located in Regina. Evraz's #1 customer is the energy sector. building pipes and plates for the oil and gas industry. PWM Steel is your locally owned metal recycler and steel service center in the area. Plus, they're a strong supporter of the community. PWM Steel, your top steel supplier for Alberta and Saskatchewan for 40 years. It's more than just taxes at L&A CPA. Assurance, accounting, retirement planning, estate planning, business consulting, financial consulting, farm program support, and bookkeeping. But yes, there is always taxes. The team at L&A CPA is committed to helping you achieve your best results and will be there to assist you every step of the way. L&A CPA, with offices in Provost, Vermilion, and Lloydminster.
What if your lifestyle could stay as vibrant as you are? Would you be more active, more social? Would your life be filled with more possibilities to live fully? Carefreedom Living by Wellings is designed to do just that. It's a new concept for vibrant adults 55 plus that's more modern and unexpected. Discover a lifestyle created on your terms and lived at your pace. Then imagine that life could feel this good every day. Visit Wellings to discover more. 3211 72nd Avenue, Lloydminster, and at wellingsoflloydminster.com. We want to welcome you back inside Spiro's, where we have got Gerald and Christine Aalbers joining us. You may recognize that name, of course, because Gerald is the mayor of Lloydminster. And our love story is brought to you by Spiro's and Richardson's Jewellery. So we kind of skipped over. Well, we had 3 kids, and we just moved a lot. And, yeah, but was the plan always to have a family? Was 3 always the goal? Like,
I don't know if we ever actually had a set number, that's for sure. But we were gonna have kids. Yeah. I grew up with 1 brother, so there's 2 of us. Christine had he came from 1 of 4 siblings, so it ended up at 3 by chance.
I always said we had to have them quickly so he didn't decide that we should only have 2. So it might have been partly my fault.
And so having kids, how did that change your relationship?
You know, I think it was actually one of the best parts because it helped us to grow even more, like the things that you don't realize that you don't know about each other and about yourself. And yeah, it was a pretty, like, and it still is. It challenged you every day, right? Like, and yeah, it's been an amazing gift. Yeah.
How come you guys are moving around so much? Like, what was
it was work, promotions, or in one case, working for the same company. They had went through a merger or acquisition. They were the company that bought, but management changed, and my boss phoned me from Estevan. We were living in Weyburn, and we'd been there just over a year and almost a year and a half, and we were settled, had a house, and we were quite happy with the community. It was close to where I grew up. I knew the community very well. It had a slower pace of life, and all of a sudden, my boss says, "You don't have a job." And when the dust settled at the last moment, the company I was working for phoned from Calgary and said, "Can you be on a plane tomorrow morning? We've got an opportunity for you." So I flew to Calgary and made a decision. I think while I was there, phoned Christine and said, "We have a choice of going to Rocky Mountain House or Cochrane." We chose Rocky Mountain House, and
because we thought maybe we could afford that. Yeah, because Cochrane was already a little crazy at that time.
And moving from Saskatchewan to Alberta, and yeah, it was so work. Yeah, it was often work. I guess one decision was family when we moved back to Regina from Rocky. My dad was going through cancer, and a recruiter had come along and recruited me through a company there, and and then sure enough, National Oil come recruiting again and brought us to Lloydminster, and that's why we're here today.
Was it challenging, Christine, to
move?
Like with his career, and and then Gerald, because you're always going here and you're going there. You feel like you have to prove yourself to that company and stuff. It takes you away from home.
There was both sides, both the family life. We determined it takes a year after you move to get really accustomed to get a life back into the community. And every community is different. Weyburn was a very tight-knit community, not a lot of people moving in and out. And it took a while to crack into Weyburn, finally got there, and then we had to move. But then we got to Rocky Mountain House, met one couple that had just moved themselves. And so it really depended. But yeah, work is always challenging because you're trying to, you've always got that 3 month probationary period hanging over your head. And everywhere we landed, there was always never a shortage of things that needed to be done, either at the office or in the field. So it was a lot of work. And there was times that, hours upon hours, and even having been somewhere for a while, you just rose up to the occasion. And
one of my favorite stories is when we were living in Fort St. John, and so we had moved to Grand Prairie, and we knew that we'd have to move again for Gerald to have the experience in the oil field, because he didn't have oil field experience at that point. So, 6 months later, I guess we're moving to Fort St. John. We get there, and he worked like hours and hours and hours. And so when he'd come home for supper, because the kids were awake until about 7:30, and so he'd come home for supper, and he's sitting on the couch reading them a story, and I'm washing the dishes, because you got to spend time with your dad. So you guys, and all of a sudden he's reading the story called Gus the Bus, and all of a sudden, rah, 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 and I'm like, I've read that story before. I don't remember the rah rah. And then he'd start reading again, and rah rah rah. And I looked around the corner, and he's like falling asleep on the couch with the kids, 3 kids on him. He's falling asleep because he's just been working way too much.
We were running about 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it was just going into spring breakup. So there were some projects, and things just got crazy. I don't think I've had a crazier environment in the oil patch than working at Fort St. John. Like, we were making 2 trips a day to the airport, because they were literally flying parts in and to this job site and stuff. And it was crazy. And that was it was one of those that when I had the opportunity to leave, Christine was very much in favor of that, moving on from that spot.
Yeah, we definitely needed to find something else, and we did.
How did you guys how does the relationship stay together?
Well, I think it had to, right? Because we moved so much, we had each other. And so when you're someplace new and nobody knows you, and you don't know where you fit, and you don't know where you belong, you end up spending a lot more time with each other. So that probably played a role. All 3 of our kids left home within 12 months. And so when they left home, it was a pretty huge shock. They had chosen to homeschool when our oldest was in grade 5. So for 7 years, the 3 of them were at home together. And when they all chose to leave, it was like, oh my goodness. And so our advice to other people is to make sure you have a life beyond your children, because when they leave home, you need to have something to fall back on, and to make sure that your relationship is still strong. So,
Right. That was going to be one of my questions, is give us some advice for other couples, especially the ones that are going through a tough time, where one is working all the time, and I get to see a lot of each other.
Yeah. And to really make sure, one of the things that was really good about homeschooling is it actually allowed us the freedom when he was going to be around Lloyd. So before he became mayor, he was on the road 100 to 120 days of the year, and overnight, that many nights. And so it was great, because when he was at home, we could actually spend time. Right. And so we had more freedom than you would otherwise. And making time for family and making things that.
Yeah. Some of the vacations, our best vacations when we went out to the Maritimes for the first time, was we caught the end of May, early June. So tourism season hasn't really taken off in the Maritimes like it is in July and August. And we went to a lobster shack up in PEI, and we'd eaten lobster before, but not much. And we wanted to learn more about it, and talked to the place was pretty much empty. I think there was 12 people in this 300-person lobster house, and was talking to the waitress and said, "We're from the West, and just wondering, is there any chance we can learn a little more about lobster? We're homeschooling." "Oh yeah, let me check." She came back. She said, "Come on back." So there we saw the tanks. We saw a 5-pound lobster. Went, wow, that's a big lobster, right? We're used to these puny little tails. That's a big lobster. The salt water, they have to live. Those are live lobsters until they're cooked. So the water is pumped up from the ocean and returned back to the ocean so that the lobsters can live. We got a tour of the Digby Harbor, saw the scallop boats that we wouldn't have been able to do. It was just talking to people and opportunities and asking questions. And that's, we've encouraged our kids to ask questions, and you learn all sorts of things.
Gerald's always been resourceful. So we were in the Digby Harbor, and there's this guy who's got a brand new boat and outfit, and he goes over to talk to him, and he's like, well, the guy's telling him he's getting ready for the tourist season. And Gerald's like, well, do you need some pretend tourists to show around? And so then they gave us a ride on the boat and took us out like they would, because it was their first run. He's like, how about a dry run? And so yeah, they took us out. It was fabulous.
So we ate in his restaurant, and
Yeah.
it was great. He came up and said, I'm ready to go. And Christine's cousins, a couple cousins were out there, one in the Canadian military and one living out there, and we gathered everybody up and had a great tour. It was
Fun. Yeah.
Is Valentine's like a big thing for you guys? Like, do you consider Gerald romantic?
I consider him romantic, but Valentine's isn't a big thing. Those are two questions.
Okay.
I think with his schedule being what it was, actually we had a very entertaining Valentine's Day probably 4 years ago, maybe 5. Oh, it was probably 5. They were in Edmonton for some meetings that they had for the city. And so we had a table of 8 at Red Lobster.
We finished with the city staff, and I had been at the staff. Christine had come along, and
I tend to
Valentine's
drive
Day.
when we're there, so I do the chauffeuring. Well,
And so, we were staying the night of Valentine's in Edmonton, and there's different people from the city, and they said, "Well, would you like to go for supper?" And she said, "Sure. You mind joining us? And, do you want us to rain in?" And we said, "No, we haven't made plans." So we went to Red Lobster, and we asked for a table of 8, and we got served immediately. There
were people lined up out the door.
They hadn't made a reservation, and they weren't taking reservations, but table of 8, you bet. So there was 6 city staff, and Christine and I, we had a beautiful
romantic,
Valentine's supper. Yeah. So,
he did have to make it up for me, but it was all good.
So how is he romantic though? Because you said, well, he's not romantic. Valentine's Day isn't a real big thing, but he is romantic.
Absolutely. He does a really good job of taking care of little details, of making sure that I'm taken care of and that we get what we need when we need it. So yeah, we just were away on a cruise, and it's just a really great time to recharge and get away from it all. And his phone on the Sunday following said, "You average 7 minutes a day on this device." And it was like, yes.
check the weather and check the menu in the boat, and it was all good.
Yeah, down from 8 hours and 7 minutes.
Yeah. It just,
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's important to, romance can come in various formats. Occasionally I will show up with flowers, and other times I'll say, I thought of buying you flowers, but because we're going away, and she'd say, thank you for that. That's, the thought, right? Because if we're going to go out, be away from home for 3-4 days for work, for
I'm
city
also
business.
really frugal. And so spending money for no apparent reason doesn't sit well with me. So it's like, when we were first married and didn't have a lot of money, we would go look at cards, and he'd pick one off the shelf and I'd pick one off the shelf. Like, I'd give you this one.
I may have done that to you.
Well
Pretty
done,
sure
Heather.
I did.
Well done, Heather.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, there's times when everything just costs so much money and you're like, okay, how are we doing this? And with moving as much as we did, it was just really hard because life wasn't what it is right now. So, yeah.
What have been some of the challenges?
I would think moving a lot would be a
Moving was a challenge.
That was one of the biggest.
One of the others was, you talked about at work, because starting a new job, trying to meet the expectations or beat the expectations. Every moving year, and there was times when I was away for a month at a time. That wasn't easy when the kids were young, and put a lot of pressure on Christine. The one particular case, I had been asked to go to Houston to work on a project, and I phoned home, and what had happened? Kelly had, our second son, I built a playhouse in the backyard, and I never finished the fire pole on it. There was supposed to be a fire pole that they could slide down. Never got the pole finished. Well, there was some neighbors' kids over, and they jumped out. Kelly jumped out, and he landed on his arm, and he had a green limb fracture. Green stick fracture.
Yeah.
Then the second or third week I was gone, I phoned, and Christine says, "Oh yeah, we have to replace the furnace. We smelled gas, called the Sask Energy, and they came and they tagged their furnace out of business or out of service." So it was done, and went, "Oh great, anything else go wrong?" Well, I'm gone for a month. Like it's just one of those things. So you just face life and those challenges. But Christine's organized, so she got the quotes for a furnace, and we made a decision. And the way we went, she got the cast. Went to the hospital, got the cast on his arm, and those kind of things. She is also so independent. When I was at another job at another place, the deck needed a board, and I said, I've got to do that when I'm home on the weekend, but I never got around to it. So she went out to the garage, she informed me, after she attempted it and grabbed the skill saw, she was going to shorten up that board and replace that broken blank.
Well, I did.
And she did, but she forgot that you want to start the skill saw before you engage the wood.
Let me just tell you, my arms were so sore because I set the saw down and then pulled the trigger, so it pulled. It was awful. Yeah, so I learned a really good lesson. Maybe I shouldn't do some things that I tried.
We do work together in home improvements, but I try to run the saw and the hammer. And she does a pretty good job of supervising and assisting.
Because you guys spend so much time apart, is it like you must still have spent, like you're on the road a lot?
Well, actually, that's the big difference about his job as mayor. So before he was mayor, he would have a company truck, and I couldn't go with him anywhere. And so once he got elected mayor, it was fabulous because I can drive, and which is what I do. He does his work all the way wherever we're going, and wherever we are, we're just together. And so people actually expect to see me at things, which is fantastic because we want people to know that marriage is good. And being together is good. Our world doesn't do a really good job of that anymore. Yeah. And it's marriage is good. And you should try it.
It seems to me like you guys make decisions together every time. Every decision is made as a couple.
Mostly.
We do. And there was times both enjoy garage selling and finding a good bargain. And she came home one day and said, I saw this thing and I think we could have used it. And it was $200, but I just didn't pull the trigger on it. And I said, you know what? I've been to garage sales and there's $200 items and I haven't bought them and they were a good buy. So why don't we sit down and just make a decision? So we did. We made a decision.
We decided that if something was $200 or under, that you could buy it without getting,
approval
or is this a really good idea or not from the other person?
Right. And it's worked.
It was a good thing.
That was a good thing. And we enjoy doing things together. We've organized things together and helped out together, and we work well together. There was times that was a little rough at the beginning, perfection, and one of us thought that should be done a little different way, and we still work through dishwashing, but it's all good.
It must be incredible watching. I mean, it had to be hard watching 3 kids leave within 12 months.
It was insane.
But it didn't take long for them to get married either.
Well, it did, because Rebecca got married right away, but the boys only just got married in the last 3 years.
But I would still consider them pretty young.
Oh, well, our oldest is 34, so
I can't believe. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Dave will be 34 this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be 34 this July.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
you're very encouraging of him.
I try really hard.
How encouraging, because we see that all the time.
Yes.
We see that when we're at events. We see that. We don't get to see a lot of Gerald being encouraging to you. How do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're very, very encouraging.
Actually, one of the, I think, gifts that I have as a gift, right, is that ability to help people to feel like they belong. And to just and I really feel like it's a gift that I've been given. It's something that I need to give away. It's just, I feel really blessed that that's something that God's given me as a gift, because I love making people feel like they're welcome and making them feel like they belong.
How trying has it been in politics? Because it happened on my show where somebody accused the mayor of something. Online social media can be brutal. How much support has he required? How does he take that?
Well, if I could take a cell phone and drive over it with a truck, that would be helpful. But honestly though, there's also the challenging parts. But he has never loved a job like he loves what he does right now. As far as I know there's a lot of things that frustrate him, and I have to remind him of why he loves what he does sometimes. But for the most part, it's pretty amazing, because he just we've been married for 36 years, and like this last 9 years, he enjoys his job. I mean, yes, it's frustrating, but having 34,000 bosses is apparently really good for him.
Hey, you don't just have one or two. You guys, the community, everybody, I appreciate everybody has a comment in the community. Some more than others, but everybody's got a comment.
But can you imagine doing this without Christine?
Yeah.
It would be extremely difficult, to say the least, from the perspective of the support from starting my day to ending my day. She's my confidant, my best friend, and the love of my life. But yeah, I can't imagine, because there's, I talk to people and, how do you do it? And they go, well, because Christine drove. And the standing joke in Regina is, with the SUMO organization, is, how did you find your way to Regina, Gerald? Where's Christine if she's not with you? Like, I got lost making it across the prairie. But no, because we've been to get to those things, and Christine's always willing to help out. So if somebody needs a hand, she's there, and it's been great. And I can't imagine, because it's been, when you start traveling, and like I say, I think the city's gained a lot from the perspective. When we drive to Regina, she's usually driving and I'm working during the day, because the next morning is the meeting. We've got to get there before, and then I'll drive back that night or whatever. And yeah, it's been really good. But no, it's I don't want to say it's a two-person job, but you've got to have the support mechanisms there. And she's made me look, I think, pretty good getting out of the door each and every day.
You've had some health issues too with your knees.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that without?
That would have been that. Yeah, I can't even imagine. Christine was an excellent physio-terrorist, as it's been referred to. There's a few professional ones in the city, but she's a great amateur. But no, she's a great coach and supporter, and that's so important. And every so often somebody has to really get mad at Gerald, and she can do that if need be. And I get the point. And she was really helpful twice over. And I know people that have talked about getting both knees replaced at the same time, and I just say I sure hope you got great support at home, because I know with one, because even getting dressed in the morning, having a shower after surgery, you just don't pop up off that bed like, I've never had another surgery other than my two knees replaced, so I don't know what it's like to have a gallbladder or your appendix removed or your tonsils, but it's incredible when you have to have somebody to depend on, and it's great to have somebody you can really depend on.
So when I'm talking about caregivers, cupcakes for caregivers, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Heather, am I forgetting anything?
You talked a lot about meeting through 4-H.
Yep.
How did you get involved in 4-H? Like, was it something that was natural because it was a part of your family, or did somebody
That's a great
push
question.
you in that direction?
Actually, my mom and dad, so we moved to Denzel when I was 5, and they are very active in the community. Like, they always have been a part of everything. And there was a 4-H club that was a multiple club. So often 4-H has just beef clubs and whatever. Well, it was a multiple club because we didn't have cows. We lived in town. And so we got involved with 4-H, and I am a leader, and it's really hard when you're a leader in a small town because you don't know where you fit. And so 4-H gave me an opportunity to be who I was. I could lead, I could do what I needed to do, and I had a place that didn't butt heads with a whole bunch of other people. So yeah, 4-H was like a lifeline for me. Between band and 4-H, I'm not sure I would have survived high school otherwise. Like, it was fabulous. So, and then Gerald?
For 4-H, my mom had been in 4-H when she was young, and it taught her how to sew. And she had enjoyed the benefits of different programs and things like that. So I started actually in a beef club that my great grandfather had started as a swine club way back when. Did a few years there, and then went into a multiple club. So did everything from woodworking to archery to rabbits, and it was kind of cool. And then saw the benefits of 4-H. I don't think I could public speak as I do today without
Amen.
4-H. My knees knock so darn hard, and you got these speeches written on all sorts of things, and you're not supposed to memorize. You're supposed to memorize it, but you're nervous. You're reading off cue cards you've made, and and things like that. And then, the benefits of going to camp, having just, camping was a great experience. Got away from the farm for a week in summertime, which was a great thing. And then the different programs, and then got to go on a couple trips, and then got into city survival and got into the alumni. And, we still have friends today. And there's people in this community that I've known for a long, long time that I met in 4-H somewhere in Saskatchewan, most often at the 4-H camp. They ended up here or from this area, and we're still friends.
Kay
Hauer, absolutely. I've known Kay Hauer
Yeah.
for a very long time, and her family.
Yeah.
And just go through a list of others
that's like her daughter Deb was my first boss, right? Like, so small world. Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
But let's be clear, it was Landis that brought them together.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Thank you both. Appreciate your time.
Thanks,
We
Kurt,
have
Heather.
a gift certificate to Spiro's
Oh.
for a romantic night out.
Excellent.
Hope you enjoy that.
We will.
I hear
Yeah.
it's a good idea to book on Valentine's.
I hear it's a good idea.
Your
to
book on Valentine's.
That's exactly it. Yes, and it's coming right up. So we're back with you tomorrow. We will have another love story on the way. We will hear from Zach and Sherry Berube tomorrow on Love Story, brought to you by Richardson's Jewellery and Spiro's.